Wind in the game last night? That was absolutely incredible. In warm-ups, the wind was blowing the goalposts around. The wind blew the punt out of the way. Did you see it, Tom? The wind?
Yeah, it was windy, Meg. Okay, big deal. Anybody can deal with some elements. It's not hard. We're going to have a show here in a second. What's up, everybody? Welcome into Quick Slants. Wild game last night. I don't really know if the weather had a huge impact on things, though. I mean, when you think about it,
Quick Slants is presented by your local New England Honda dealers. Around here, we Honda.
hello, friends. The stupidest show on local television coming at you. The next half hour or so, we're going to bat it around about the Patriots' 14-10 win over the Buffalo Bills. Wind aided. I'm telling you, this team just keeps on giving and giving and giving. Could have been just a benign little game in the middle of December, but no, it turns into an historic event. First, we're going to hit you with the game plan right now. Brought to you by Shaw's. Shaw's is perfecting the art of fresh. You know that. What did it all mean? What happened? Kyle Van Noy will be in studio. Kyle Van Noy will be in studio. We got a poll, we got viewer comments, and then we got the Meg-A Hot Take from Ottolini. All right, first, it's time for my slant. Maybe you guys heard the Patriots threw it 3 times Monday night. Their decision, though, had nothing to do with being terrified of Mac Jones blowing the game. It had everything to do with believing the Bills, left to their own devices, probably would. And they were right. Do you think the Patriots would have kept handing off? The Bills were scoring points? No. Belichick and McDaniels would have altered their approach, but they never needed to. Patriots charted a course. They ran it to the Bills' face, and they were never forced to stop. Not by the Bills' defense blowing up, and not by Josh Allen and the Bills' offense showing any kind of sustained mastery. This was as much about the Patriots' defense as it was the running game or fear of Mac Jones. Seriously, when we come to the Jones thing, you think the same quarterback who threw it 40 times in the rain in Week 4 against the Bucs and Tom Brady is suddenly somebody the Patriots are afraid to let do his business? Some people do, and it's been a hot topic all day. Our friend Mina Kimes at ESPN, she had this to say. Super solid rookie season. Offensive approach, however, was indicative of how his OC views his throwing ability. Both things can be true. Seth Wickersham battled back and said people think throwing 3 times reveals what Bill thinks about Mac, when maybe reveals more about what he thinks about Josh. And then the next one from Chris Brown. I'm one person, aren't we all? But no question in my mind that Bill and McDaniels had their view of Mac's ability to throw in the conditions. Okay? You see it all there. Look, if you want to talk about whether or not the throws were going to be affected, Jones or Allen, absolutely. The first throw that he had sailed to Jonnu Smith. But the same thing happened to Josh Allen. His back-to-back throws to the sidelines in the third quarter, one went in sideways. The second one was almost a pick 6. Look, when we talk about the data that Sean McDermott spit out about starting field position and everything else, and the red zone, you understand that he never really comprehended what the game was all about. There was no red zone last night. It started at about the 5-yard line if you want to talk about red zone, okay? The field was 200 yards long if you were going into the wind. So, big picture, Patriots are 9-4. Ottolini's joining me, and the Patriots headed to their bye. Gave us all a game to remember.
First in the AFC. They remain there. And what I want to talk about from last night, aside from the Mac Jones of it all, and we will get there, all 3 throws from Mac Jones, is that how the Patriots won this game was having a plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D. I mean, they came into the game last night, looked at the weather, and said, okay, our rookie quarterback should not have to throw for 310 yards tonight like he did against the Titans. Let's run it for over 200. They're not stopping us. Damian Harris goes down. Enter Ramondre Stevenson. Kyle Duggar is out on the COVID list. Miles Bryant steps up and has the best game of his career so far. And when you can't find a weakness in a team's armor like that, it just becomes incredibly difficult for the Bills.
And it's understanding the nature of how the game's going to be played. Belichick has spoken over the years about officiating, and you are going to do business as business is being done. And I think if you look at the way the Patriots have operated always, even with hell, throw it out there, Spygate. Do business as business is being done. Bill felt other teams were videotaping signals. He was going to do the same thing. They got pinched for it. I'll tell you one thing about the way they approached that game, though, Meg, and it's the decisiveness that they approached it with. And a long time ago, before the Patriots played in their first Super Bowl, I was standing with Steve Belichick, Belichick's dad. We must have talked for a half an hour in the New Orleans hotel, in the lobby, just talking back and forth about his kid and the way he does things. He goes, one thing about my son, he's the most decisive person I've ever met in my life. He says he's going to do something, he does it. And he doesn't waver from the decision once it's made.
They stuck with the game plan. They stuck with it
Until
because
you make 'em stop.
As tough as it was to watch at times, it was working. Time now for From the Stands. And Tom, your poll results are brought to you by your New England Ford dealers and Ford Trucks, official truck of the NFL. I liked this one.
You did good, because see, I don't like when it's this lopsided, but see, the Patriots chose to throw just 3 times in their win. What do you most readily infer from that fact? They're wary of Mac's arm, only 5%. Confident in the run game, 15. Confident in the defense, 12. It was windy, you dumbass. Meg, what do the people have to say?
Ryan says, wish not believing in Josh Allen versus defense was an option.
Mm-hmm.
BC, I think that's Bruce, says
Yeah,
if
Bruce.
the Patriots fell behind, it would likely look different. They never did. John says, I mean, the argument they don't trust Mac would have held more water if Josh Allen lit it up. He was 15 of 30. I thought Josh Allen was pretty.
I thought he had good moments in a friggin' gale. I mean, that's what people are not understanding. Even the Diggs drop in the end zone wasn't really a drop. He's not going to have a ball hit him in the bicep. The ball's moved.
Robert says, I take it people don't like how this game was won. I do.
Do you?
Do I like how it was won? Absolutely. Wait, it was won in a historic fashion. This game will be studied for years. It will have a football life, documentaries about it. It is just quintessentially Belichick. But I do wonder, because I think in that poll we had 5%, and granted that's Patriots fans who are saying that it represents that the coaches are wary of Mac's arm. And I think there might be a little bit of something to that, not because they think that Mac was weak, but because they said, hey, if we don't have to have our rookie quarterback throwing that, and he's known for having the soft touch and a catchable ball and all that, why would we?
I think there is absolutely some relevance to that when it's all said and done. I don't think it's fair to make it a jumping off point, and I think a lot of people did that, inferred that they didn't trust him. Look, we all understand he has an ordinary arm in terms of strength.
But big brain.
Big, huge brain. Great anticipation, but anticipation and arm strength really mean you have to put the ball in a spot and hope that the ball and the player intersect. And when it's that windy, that ability, look, run back the Jonnu Smith reception one more time and you can see how much that ball moved. And that said, the Patriots after that, why bother? All right, we got Kyle Van Noy. He was our boots on the ground last night. He's going to be in to tell us all about what it was like. How it growth potential. Brought to you by Leonard Hair Transplant Associates and Dr. Matthew Lopresti. Look at the Patriots' run game during their current streak of great success. If you were watching on Monday night, and of course you were because you live here in New England and you like your Patriots, you saw him run for 2-2-2. We have a guy who was on the sidelines watching all that running get done and saying, thank God that's not us. It's Kyle Van Noy.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. Take us on the field. What were the conditions really like?
Very windy, cold. Yeah, not too slippery. I would say windy and cold.
Did it alter at all the way you did your business as a linebacker?
Well, no, not necessarily. Yeah, essentially, maybe a little bit, because you knew if you had the wind, with the offense, if the offense had the wind, the Bills, that they could throw it a little bit more. And if it was against, they would try to run the ball a little bit more. So you kind of knew going out there you had to switch it up a little bit. But overall, it's business as usual.
It's funny. I had this theory because, we heard Sean McDermott, the Bills coach, talk about how often they were in the red zone and, the numbers that he saw as starting field position and how he'd take that. I'm not asking you to harpoon him, but red zone didn't matter last night. The red zone didn't start at the 20.
Yeah.
The red zone, if you were into the wind, really started at about the 8-yard line. And it's interesting because for Bill, he had a plan, and he's often had plans. Do you guys feel comfortable or even curious as you're heading into a game? Or what's he going to do? I wonder what exactly we're going to do in different game situations.
You know, I feel like we had a good plan overall. We kind of knew what was, it was the weather.
Yeah, of course you knew what the game plan was.
Yeah, you can't control that. But as far as we don't know what he's thinking all the time. So it's very interesting how some things go. Like, for example, the PAT, when we went for 2, that was a big play. I don't think people realized how big that was right at the beginning, and to be confident and to explain why we went for 2 because they had a target for the kicking, that's just so detailed and it's very impressive. But we got the 2-point and put the pressure on them early, and I think that was a really big key because 8 points in a game like that is a lot. So. And
if I'm not mistaken, you guys scored that touchdown going into the wind. Yeah, that was a run into the wind.
Yeah.
So that's bonus points.
For sure, 100%.
So bonus points plus the 2, that's like scoring
plus
14.
Plus the 2.5.
Plus the 2.5. What's the 2.5?
You missed it. Didn't we get 2.5 points?
Oh, yeah, but you're not supposed to talk about that. Maybe somebody did know the 2.5. Also, Mac Jones was attempts under 29. That was a layup. Listen to me, though. Were you watching?
He was so late on that.
Yeah, but I just he's not talking about prognostications.
Well, you can now because it's at the ticker.
Can you?
You're allowed to, right?
Yeah, you get a green light from me. Were you watching it and mesmerized by the fact that you guys had not thrown the ball? And saying, are we just going to keep running it here?
Yeah, I was kind of like, what? We're really doing this in an NFL game? But, leave it up to Bill having a plan and playing good defense and sticking with it. And we all bought into it, and we all believed that was going to be the formula, and turned out to be a great day for us. And we're looking great into the bye week, heal up, and get ready for the Colts, another tough opponent.
It's a huge game in your division, and to see that you guys were in command and to have that knowledge that the plan was working, did it increase your defensive confidence as the game went on? So a lot of people are saying, well, they were really close to the bone there. The Bills were down there. It didn't seem as if you guys were panicked.
Yeah, we felt like we felt in control of the game. The way the Bills were operating, we felt like we were matching up really well with what they were doing and trying to get done. They felt like they missed out on a couple plays. We felt like we missed out on a couple plays. So you can sit here and go back and forth. At the end of the day, we won. We're the number 1 team in the AFC East, and we're going to move forward like that. Going into the Colts, who they're playing just as good as anybody in the NFL right now. They're going to be tough. They're confident. They got a run game. They got a good defense. They're playing really complimentary football right now. It's going to be a good game on the road in a hostile environment.
And the last thing you want to do is have a question posed to you after you see Jonathan Taylor, like this one that was posed to Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. Folks, let's take a listen.
40 years since a team has won a game running that few times in a game. Passing that few times. Is that embarrassing?
What kind of question?
What are we doing, bro?
What kind of question is that?
It's a question. The nation's going to be criticizing you calling you.
All right. I think we gave up 7 points.
Yeah,
14
to 10. Is that the final score?
We made stops when we had to. They had one big run. They got good backs.
All right.
They kept coming back to a couple runs. I don't know how you want us to answer that question.
You first.
Fair question.
Fair question.
Not diplomatically phrased, but
Okay.
we have a unique relationship.
Yeah.
But there should be a time at which I could say to you and put on my journalist hat, you guys embarrassed by having somebody run for 222 on you? And I think that you would feel comfortable saying, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a tough question.
It is tough.
Especially after a loss. That was a tough one.
If I came to your locker and asked you that question that way, I don't think that your reaction would be that far different. I'm like a mongoose.
Me and you are fighting.
I don't think that your reaction would be that far different from Micah Hyde's. You would eventually answer the question, but you'd say, that was kind of a bleepy way to ask that question.
Probably.
You would, because I like the fact that you're candid. You don't just say, well, I didn't like that, I'm not going to answer it. You'll say it.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you got to answer the question. You're a professional. I try to, you have a job. I try to be respectful to that, answer the questions you have as a player. Unfortunately, you get put in tough situations that you're not always happy about, but you got to answer the question. Now, did they answer it well? I don't know. You could be the judge of that.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was an okay answer, but it still, to me, ignores the fact that 14 points in gale force winds is like, and 220 yards rushing is like giving up 21 points and 300 yards combined, whatever. Yeah. It wasn't the same. You can't let that, anyway. Yeah. What's the mood? You guys are heading into your bye week.
I think it's still the same as it's been since the beginning of the season. Confident, hungry to get better, and we all know we can get better. We know we want to improve. We still have a lot to prove. And we're excited for the challenge. Honestly, this next game is going to be a very tough one.
Over there, too, yeah.
Especially in Indy, Saturday, short week. It's going to be...
Don't short week me that.
What do you mean?
You just got to buy.
But you get
like 12 days off.
Do we need to go into the specifics? It's still a short week.
Okay.
We got anything good coming up for the holidays? Christmas shopping?
I'm going to go see a comedian named Brian Regan at the Providence.
He's good.
Yeah, he's clean. He works clean, too. I'm going to see him Saturday.
He's good.
With the missus, yeah. That's about it from my end. Oh, good work on the foster kids last weekend.
Appreciate that.
So much community work out of our guy, Kyle Van Noy. Back to, wherever I go from here. Thanks, Tom. Back to me. Coming up after the break, we got Quickfire and, of course, the much-anticipated Meg-A Hot Take from Ottolini. See you in a minute. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Meg-A Hot Take. Go, Meg.
Good people of New England. On our first episode of this season, I made a bold hot take. I think around December, we're standing around December, January saying, Coach of the Year, Bill Belichick. Well said by you, because after last night, I don't know who could argue with me. Belichick went into the matchup with the highest stakes of the season thus far, and for one night, he broke the modern NFL. Against a quarterback with a cannon made for tough throwing conditions, Bill said, my unholy trinity of situational football, complementary play, and trench warfare will get us through. And he was right. It was a diabolical clinic in game theory. And oh yeah, they're first in the AFC in December. Might as well cast your vote now if you got one.
I got one. I do. I have one. I'm very happy about that. One of the 50. And right now, it's hard to argue that he wouldn't be your guy as the Coach of the Year. Very good job by you. See, I never know what the Meg-A Hot Take was going to be. And then when I get that, I'm so excited. Good job, Meg-O.
Thanks, Tom. Time now for Quickfire, presented by your New England Honda dealers, featuring the rugged all-wheel drive highlight, because around here, we Honda top an Irish temper, something you and I are familiar with, at least with half of my family.
Yes, and me. Because
we saw it from Sean McDermott last night. He was on edge.
And he got himself going sideways a little bit, obviously. I mean, for him to, after the game, say this win was not about Bill Belichick, it was about the Bills doing things to sabotage themselves, it's missing the point. Because the point of what they did last night was not understand the way the game was going to be played. And maybe that's a little bit highfalutin for me, just a lowly little writer, but he didn't get it. He just didn't get it.
I just don't understand a coach who is constantly yelling on the sideline the whole game. At some point, like when you're just at level 11, what gets through to players? It doesn't translate to me. Let's move on to hat on a hat. The running game. What was that made possible by?
Hat on a hat on a hat on a hat on a hat. I just wanted to say it because people can't stop saying hat on a hat. So with the Patriots, you look at Jakob Johnson, who is just a fantastic fullback. The ability of their offensive line, the size that they have up front. They went with 6 offensive linemen. They dusted off Mike Onwenu, which they should because he's a terrific player. Go 6 offensive linemen and a fullback. That's rototill season, okay? They rototilled the Bills. Was it absolutely and completely dominant? when the Bills knew it was coming and they still couldn't stop it, yeah, it was. Even though it was only 4.6 per carry, a dominant performance.
That's the thing. Watching that game, it's like, it's so predictable. How do they keep executing it? I saw a great tweet. I mean, you'll shout out who it was maybe, of Bill basically shouting across the field saying, hey, we're going to run it again. There's nothing they could do.
It was Tim Graham, our guy. Tim Graham from the Buffalo News, actually the Athletic Buffalo.
Coy, O'Roy, Depoy. Award sweep for the Patriots going into the end of the season. Is it possible?
I'm going to keep pounding this because Bill Belichick is your front runner. Mac Jones is your front runner for Offensive Rookie of the Year. And if you ask me, Matt Judon is the best defender on the best defense, and he has made enough plays to overshadow non-playoff competitors like a TJ Watt or a Myles Garrett or even a cornerback like Diggs from Dallas.
Untapped potential. Let's get to this quickly.
Bill, since the weather made it such a wild game, will you be able to take anything from that to use film-wise when you go to prepare for them at the end of the month?
Yeah, we were talking about that last night. We can use our whole passing game. All the pass plays that we have, they haven't seen. So.
All right, good question there by Courtney Cox from the Greg Hill Show on WEI. It is fascinating because that is an advantage, even if they're joking about it. It is an advantage. They still haven't seen exactly what the 2021 Patriots team looks like across the field from them.
Yeah, I mean, he's saying it in jest, obviously, but they did keep, it's the opposite of a kitchen sink game where, okay, they may know everything about your rushing attack now, but Mac Jones is a complete mystery aside from what you have on film from just through his rookie year.
Yeah, I mean, when we look at this game and this team, Meg, it's fascinating to see how much progress this team has made. It really refers back to the point that you were making in your Meg-A Hot Take about how incredible this team is. Look, I figured it could be an 11-6, 12-5 team, but this dominant, didn't see it happening.